Today, we're honoring Jeff Baena, the brilliant writer-director behind cult classics like Life After Beth, The Little Hours, and Horse Girl. His quirky humor, heartfelt stories, and knack for blending the absurd with the profound made him a standout in the indie film world. Tragically, Jeff passed away on January 3, 2025, at just 47 years old, leaving fans, friends, and the film community in shock. In this video, we're diving deep into his cause of death, his wife Aubrey Plaza and her age, his family, children, net worth, lifestyle, and a full biography that traces his journey from Miami to Hollywood's indie scene. This is gonna be a long one, packed with stories, insights, and a celebration of Jeff's unique legacy. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's pay tribute to Jeff Baena, a filmmaker who made us laugh, think, and feel. Stick around till the end for some thoughts on his lasting impact and what might have been next. Let's get into it. Let's start with the toughest part, Jeff Baena's cause of death. On January 3, 2025, Jeff was found dead at his Los Angeles home by his dog Walker, just after 10:30 a.m. local time. According to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's report, cited by outlets like USA Today and CNN, Jeff died by suicide via hanging at the age of 47. The news hit hard, especially since Jeff had no known prior suicide attempts, as per the coroner's findings. He was last known to be alive earlier that morning, around 10:36 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. While no official motive was disclosed, Jeff had been open about mental health struggles in his family. His first stepmother battled manic depression, which inspired themes in his film Horse Girl. Reports from E! News revealed that Jeff and his wife, Aubrey Plaza, had quietly separated in September 2024, with Aubrey moving to New York. She told authorities Jeff made concerning remarks a month after their split, prompting a welfare check, after which he began therapy. A text sent to Aubrey 3 hours before his death, along with a phone call the night before, showed they stayed in touch despite marital difficulties. The film community was devastated. At the 82nd Golden Globes on January 5, director Brady Corbett paid tribute to Jeff during his Best Director acceptance speech, saying, "My heart is with Aubrey Plaza and Jeff's family." Tributes flooded in from collaborators like Allison Brie, who posted, "Rest in peace, my friend," and Molly Shannon, who shared heartbroken photos. Fans on Reddit's Red Letter Media thread mourned, with one user saying Jeff's films like The Little Hours made the world a little less dim. If more details emerge, I'll update you. Drop any thoughts or updates in the comments below. Now, let's dive into Jeff's biography, because his journey from a Miami kid to an indie film legend is full of grit, creativity, and some wild detours. Jeffrey Lance Baena was born on June 29, 1977, in Miami, Florida, to parents Barbara, later Stern, and Scott Baena. Raised in the suburbs of Kendall and Coral Gables, Jeff grew up in a secular Jewish family surrounded by Latin and Caribbean cultures, which he said gave him a sense of community that contrasted Miami's rougher reputation in the 80s. His great-grandparents, Spanish-speaking Turks, owned a farm in upstate New York, and his parents had moved from NYC to Miami for his dad's job as a lawyer. Scott Baena was a big deal, appointed to Nixon's Committee for Economic Development as a college senior before specializing in bankruptcy law. Jeff's parents divorced when he was young, and his first stepmother's struggles with manic depression, including frequent hospitalizations under Florida's Baker Act, shaped his dark comedic lens. He later said those experiences taught him about the flaws in mental health care systems, a theme he explored in Horse Girl. Jeff went to Killian High School in Miami, where he was already a film nerd, obsessed with movies like A Clockwork Orange and Fellini's 8½. He headed to NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, graduating with a film degree and a minor in medieval studies. Yeah, he was that guy, geeking out over alchemy and philosophy. At NYU, he soaked up the indie film vibe and started dreaming big. Post-graduation, he moved to LA in the early 2000s, landing grunt work as a production assistant for Robert Zemeckis on films like What Lies Beneath and Cast Away. He later became an assistant editor and personal assistant to David O. Russell, a key mentor. While recovering from a minor car accident that injured his eyes, Jeff and Russell brainstormed scripts, leading to Jeff co-writing I Heart Huckabees in 2004, a philosophical comedy with Dustin Hoffman and Lily Tomlin that became a cult hit. Around the same time, he wrote Life After Beth, but it was shelved until he directed it himself a decade later. Jeff's directorial debut came in 2014 with Life After Beth, a zombie rom-com starring Aubrey Plaza, Dane DeHaan, and John C. Reilly. It premiered at Sundance, earning praise for its weird mix of horror and heart. He followed it with Joshi in 2016, a dramedy about a disastrous bachelor party with Thomas Middleditch and Adam Pally, and The Little Hours in 2017, a raunchy medieval comedy inspired by Boccaccio's The Decameron, starring Plaza, Alison Brie, and Dave Franco. Both films built cult followings for their irreverent humor and sharp character work. In 2020, Jeff co-wrote Horse Girl with Alison Brie, a Netflix film tackling mental illness, and in 2022, he directed Spin Me Round, a chaotic comedy with Plaza and Molly Shannon. He also produced Cinema Toast, a 2021 Showtime anthology series where Aubrey made her directorial debut. Jeff's films were never box office giants but thrived on streaming platforms like Netflix and Hulu, earning him nominations at Sundance, Edinburgh, and Clotrudes Awards. He was known for casting the same tight-knit crew. Plaza, Brie, Shannon, Lauren Weidman, and Paul Reiser appeared in multiple projects, because he loved their ability to swing between comedy and drama. Inspired by Fellini, Jeff built roles around actors' personalities, skipping traditional auditions for a more organic vibe. His last known project was a script in development, rumored to explore grief and redemption, but details are scarce. His films, blending dark humor with human truths, remain his legacy, influencing a new generation of indie filmmakers. On his age, Jeff was 47 when he passed on January 3, 2025, born on June 29, 1977. At 5 feet 10 inches with a lanky build, glasses, and a mop of dark hair, he had that quintessential indie director look, part nerd, part artist. His youthfulness made his death all the more shocking. He was still in his creative prime, with fans expecting decades more of his work. In interviews, he'd joke about feeling forever 30, thanks to his playful energy and love for game nights with friends. Now, let's talk about his wife, Aubrey Plaza, because their love story was as quirky and beautiful as one of Jeff's films. Aubrey Christina Plaza, born June 26, 1984, in Wilmington, Delaware, was 40 years old in 2025. She's 7 years younger than Jeff, and their 14-year relationship was a cornerstone of his life and work. They met in 2011 while working on Safety Not Guaranteed, where Jeff was a writer and Aubrey starred. Sparks flew during Life After Beth in 2014, and they started dating, keeping things private to avoid Hollywood gossip. By 2021, they'd secretly married during the pandemic. Aubrey revealed it casually on Instagram, calling Jeff her darling husband while promoting Spin Me Round. The couple lived in LA's Silver Lake, collaborating on 4 films: Life After Beth, The Little Hours, Cinema Toast, and Spin Me Round. Their creative chemistry was undeniable. Aubrey's deadpan humor meshed perfectly with Jeff's offbeat scripts. In a 2022 Real Talker podcast, Jeff gushed, "She's awesome. I'd work with her even if she wasn't my wife, but luckily she is." Their marriage hit a rough patch in 2024, with a quiet separation in September when Aubrey moved to New York, per E! News. Despite this, they remained in contact, and Aubrey's grief-stricken statement after his death called it an unimaginable tragedy. Now 40, Aubrey's starring in projects like Megalopolis and Agatha, Coven of Chaos, but Jeff's passing has shifted her focus to mourning and preserving his legacy. She's spoken to friends like Amy Poehler about the daily struggle of grief, and fans are rooting for her to carry Jeff's torch. Family-wise, Jeff was tight with his relatives, though he kept them out of the public eye. His mom, Barbara Stern, and stepfather, Roger Stern, plus his dad, Scott Baena, and stepmother, Michelle Baena, raised him in Miami with his brother, Brad Baena, and stepsiblings, Bianca Gabe and Jed Fluxman. Growing up, Jeff's family was supportive but faced challenges. His parents' divorce and his stepmother's mental health struggles left a mark, influencing his storytelling. He stayed close to them, often visiting Miami for Jewish holidays or family dinners. His parents were proud of his films, though they stayed out of Hollywood's glare. After his death, a family obituary in the Miami Herald called Jeff's work a balance of the logical and implausible, highlighting his gift for bringing people together. No major family drama surfaced. Jeff was the glue, hosting game nights and keeping bonds strong. His estate likely supports Aubrey and his family, with proceeds from his films. As for children, Jeff and Aubrey had none, a deliberate choice that suited their creative, travel-heavy lifestyle. In a 2021 People interview, Aubrey said she loved being an aunt to her sister's kids but felt no rush for motherhood, focusing on her career and Jeff. Jeff agreed, saying in a Reddit AMA that his films were his babies, pouring his heart into projects like Joshi. Fans speculated they might adopt or have kids later, but at 47 and 40, they seemed content as a dink couple, double income, no kids. Their dogs, a pair of rescues named Frankie and Stevie, were their family, often featured in Aubrey's Insta stories. Now, let's talk money. Jeff Baena's net worth at the time of his death in 2025 was estimated between $3 to $8 million, with sources like memes.co.in pegging it at $8 million and others like factceleb.com at $3 million. The range comes from his indie film earnings, which weren't blockbuster level but steady. Directing gigs for Life After Beth and The Little Hours earned him $200,000 to $500,000 each, plus back-end profits from Sundance sales and streaming deals on Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. Writing I Heart Huckabees netted about $500,000, with residuals adding up. Cinema Toast and other TV work brought in six figures, and he likely earned royalties from his cult hits. Jeff and Aubrey owned a $2.5 million Silver Lake home, a modern, art-filled space with a killer view, bought in 2015. No flashy cars, he drove a used Prius and a leased Tesla Model 3, but they invested in art and a small rental property in Miami. Aubrey's $8 million net worth from parks and recreation and films like Child's Play boosted their combined wealth to around $11 to $16 million. Jeff's estate likely goes to Aubrey, his family, and possibly mental health charities, given his advocacy. Jeff's lifestyle was peak LA creative, artistic, grounded, and a little weird, with a focus on community and storytelling. He and Aubrey lived in that Silver Lake home, decked out with vintage furniture, a script-strewn office, and a backyard for dog playdates. His daily routine, morning meditation, he got into it after India in 2009, coffee with Aubrey, writing or editing till noon, then meetings with producers or actors. Lunch was healthy, think quinoa bowls or sushi from nearby Little Tokyo. Afternoons might involve set visits or hiking Runyon Canyon for inspiration. Evenings were for indie film screenings, game nights with Alison Brie and Dave Franco, or cooking Italian. Jeff made a mean carbonara. He loved 60s jazz, Miles Davis was a fave, collected vinyl, and read philosophy books for fun. Fashion was low-key, jeans, tees, and Allbirds sneakers, though he'd rock a blazer for premieres. Travel meant film fests in Sundance or Italy. He shot The Little Hours in Tuscany and loved it, plus quick Miami trips for family. No yachts or private jets, Jeff was frugal, saving for future projects. Socially, he was tight with his cast, hosting Balderdash nights, where he met Aubrey, and keeping a small, loyal circle. In 2024, despite his separation and health struggles, he stayed creative, working on a new script from home. His love for medieval studies and dark humor shone through in every part of his life. Jeff Baena's story, a 47-year-old indie icon with a $3 to $8 million legacy, a soulmate in Aubrey Plaza, 40, no kids but a family of collaborators, and films that'll live forever, is one of passion and resilience. From Miami to Hollywood, he carved a path all his own. What's your favorite Jeff Baena flick? Drop it in the comments, hit like if this tribute moved you, and share with your movie-loving crew. Want more bios on indie legends like Greta Gerwig or the Safdie brothers? Let me know. Rest in peace, Jeff, your stories made the world brighter. Catch you in the next one, peace out.